Morning. Day 2 of the Kevin Chronicles. It's cold. Been up since 5 this morning. Just went out for a little bit of a walk. This frigid weather. Feel it's good to get out and get some exercise first thing in the morning, get my steps in. It's a great way to start your day, great way to refresh your mind. It sets the tone for the rest of the day. I notice days if I sleep in too late, I don't get out of bed, or I just sit around all day, it's kind of hard to motivate myself to do anything. So it's good to start your day just moving, just get up and move. Well, usually first thing I do is I get up, I have my coffee in the morning. Sometimes meditate, which helps. But I feel like that's a great way to kind of start my day, set the tone, gets my mind right. This usual self-explanatory, helpful shit. Probably gonna head over to the gym in a few moments. Could get a workout in. But I want to talk a little bit more about what I spoke about earlier. So about some of my plans for this coming year. Obviously, I'm not one for making resolutions, New Year's resolutions, but I feel like the majority of people don't usually follow through with those. Usually they make a resolution, they think the next year they're going to just wake up one day and be totally different, be somebody totally new. But the truth is, you bring the same problems, you're the same person the next day. You actually have to change. So, obviously there's that whole idea, the whole joke, about how, how gyms, at the beginning of the year are absolutely crowded, but you just wait till March and, they're like 60% of those people are all going to fall off. A lot of people that we make commitments, or we say we're going to do something, but then we don't do it, or we put it off, we make excuses. And we're very, very good. I think us as humans, as people, we're very good at making excuses for things. Be it monetary or time. It's usually a money issue or a time issue. Which is usually a load of bull. For the most part, if you really want something, you'll find the time for it. I used to be pretty damn out of shape. A few years ago, I want to say it was 2018. Was it 2017? I think it was 2017. I was like 25 years old, and I guess I was kind of in denial about how poor in shape I was, how poor my shape was. I had a lot of friends at the time who were quite a bit younger than me. They were in their teens, and we used to like to go out. We used to get together. We used to go on hikes. We used to go explore, random places. We go out in the woods. And I remember one day, me and a few friends, we went out and we were hiking along this trail, and it was a hot day. It was like 90 degrees. At the time, I was probably, I mean, I'm 5'7". I was 25 at the time, and I probably weighed just shy of 200. I was like 195 about. So I was kind of chunky at the time, and a lot of my friends were at the time. They were like 18, so they were young. They were still kind of young, but I noticed on the hike I was exhausted. Like I was absolutely like exhausted, and I noticed I was having a hard time keeping up with my buddies. And I'm just like, what the hell? Like what's going on? It's like I couldn't believe how out of shape I was at the time, and then it's like I'm having a hard time keeping up with these younger guys, and here I am. I'm 25. You know, I should be in the prime of my life, best shape of my life. I should be, you know, I should be leading. I should be ahead of these guys. They should be trying to keep up with me. And that was when I realized, wow, like I really let myself go. And so after that, I decided, you know, enough is enough. We gotta cut back. We gotta cut back. Stop eating the junk food. I ate like shit at the time. I mean, I used to eat like those frozen dinners. I used to eat like entire bags of chips, chicken nuggets, fast food, just a bunch of garbage. So I started cutting out on the junk. I started exercising. I started going for a walk, going for runs. But in time, I slowly lost weight. I think I didn't get serious about my fitness, being in shape, until it was actually early 2020. And I know that was during the whole pandemic, and a lot of people were struggling. A lot of gyms were closed. You know, a lot of people were in a dark place during those times. But surprisingly, I actually thrived. That actually made me stronger. I was an essential worker, so I still had to work. And even though my gym at the time was closed down, I had some equipment at home, so I would just still train at home. And so I was working 12, 13, 14-hour nights. And I still had to find a way, even though there wasn't much time, I still had to find a way to stay in shape, to work out. So it's like I would get up. I used to work nights, so I would get up late in the evening, go to work, come home, and then I would get my workout in. And it was tough. I definitely kind of had to sacrifice some sleep, but I had to make it happen. You know, I wasn't just gonna put it off. It's one of those things where if you want it bad enough, you're gonna have to find a way, and you will find a way. I mean, even now, I mean, I'm training 3 days a week, and I still have I still work pretty long days. I don't work nights anymore, but in my current job, I work like 7 in the morning till 5:30, and it's about 40 minutes from where I live. So, I mean, that's quite a big chunk of my day taken up, but I still have to get that workout in at the end of the day. if you want something bad enough, you'll make it happen. You'll find a way. And during my whole fitness journey, I guess we'll say, I actually had a few people who, they saw how well I was doing, and they saw I was the shape that I was in, and I guess they wanted me to give them pointers, or they wanted me to take them to the gym. And I mean, I'm not a trainer, but they were asking me for like tips, workout tips, and sometimes they'd want to come train in the gym with me, and it was funny how they all had that motivation in the beginning, but a lot of them struggled to keep up, or they would make excuses. They'd be like, oh, I can't today, I got this going on. Or they would say, oh, I might I might come train with you this day, but then they end up not doing it. I've seen it over and over and over. I mean, even my own sister. I mean, I've been trying to encourage her, to work on herself as well. She, has a desire, but just won't act on it. And I'm a pretty patient guy, but ultimately, I feel like people, they have to be able to do it. They have to be able to help themselves sometimes. I can't just, lift the weights for them, show up for them. Like there was this one guy who we would go to the gym together sometimes, and it was a bit. I actually went to his gym as like a guest, trained with him a little bit. We worked out together, and he seemed really excited and interested to get into it at first, but it was a little out of my way. Like I kind of had my own gym that I was training at the time, and I was already, I already had my own gym. I had my own routine, so I would kind of just like show up at this other gym with this guy, and just like kind of fool around, train with him. But I couldn't. I mean, it was out of my way. I was taking time out of my day. Obviously, I wasn't getting paid for it. I mean, I'm not a personal trainer. And anyway, he would. I wasn't always able to make it. I mean, I had stuff going on as well. I had my own training, so I was already responsible for my own training. And I had shown him enough. He seemed to know what he was doing. Like he seemed all right. But on days, when I was busy, sometimes I would, I expected him to just show up to his gym and do his thing. But a lot of times, we would meet up again. He was actually a work buddy of mine. I met him at work. So when I ran into him again at work, I asked him how he was doing, how his workouts were going, and he didn't do it. He didn't show up. I realized real quick that you can't really help people who aren't willing to help themselves. I mean, he was incapable of training without me there, without that support. Whereas, in my time working out, 99% of the time, I was alone. I was on my own. I don't need friends. I don't need buddies. If anything, that just slows me down. So I realized, this isn't gonna work out. Like, I'm not gonna keep showing up, if this guy can't work on himself. Eventually he's just gotta pick himself up. I gave him enough tips. He's responsible now. So, all in all, what I'm basically saying is, if you want something bad enough, you'll make time for it. You'll make it happen. Stop making excuses for yourself. I know I'm too good at that. So, I'm guilty of it too. So, I gotta work on myself as well. I make excuses, things, try to avoid things as well. So, nobody's perfect. Sometimes, we just gotta hear the truth. We just gotta tell it like it is. Alright, that's all I got for now. Take care.